The Yukon is untamed, pristine and wild. There are only a few roads that cross this vast wilderness, many of which are rough and remote. What better place for an adventure? The entire Yukon territory is bear country. It is always exciting seeing a fully grown brown bear in its natural habitat. Bears living inland are known as grizzlies, while their cousins living at the coast are called brown bears. They might vary in size and weight as their food sources differ. Grizzlies usually feed on berries, plants and some fresh meat. Their strong paws help them to dig for roots and the occasional ground squirrel. Brown bears feast on a large supply of fresh fish, which allows some of them to grow to an enormous size, weighing up to 800 kilograms. The iconic Alaska Highway, which runs from Dawson Creek in British Columbia to Fairbanks, Alaska, crosses the entire Yukon territory. Much has changed in the years since it was built in 1942. Today, the Alaska Highway is a mecca for RVs and motorhomes. Soon after entering the Yukon, Watson Lake is the first city along the highway. It is famous for its signpost forest. Started by a homesick GI in 1942, today there are close to 80,000 signs from all over the world. We had a lot of fun hunting for signs from our own hometown. In Carcross, the well-advertised smallest desert on Earth is in truth a sand blow from nearby Lake Bennett. The sand was formed thousands of years ago when glaciers deposited large amounts of silt. The small town further boasts an impressive display of First Nation art. South of Carcross, the road crosses British Columbia on its way towards the Alaskan Panhandle. The scenic drive completely omits the hardships the gold seekers of 1899 had to endure crossing the White Pass on their way to the Klondike goldfields. The historic White Pass train was completed in 1900. Instead of gold seekers, it carries tourists from Skagway to Carcross today. Tourism is what Skagway is about. Cruise ships deposit hordes of people in this historic gold rush town. Amid the many souvenir shops, it is sometimes hard to see the original character of the settlement. Some buildings remain to tell the story of the old times. A glimpse into the past is offered on the Gold Rush Cemetery. The graves of known and unknown gold seekers can be found here. Also, Skagway's two most famous persons are buried here, gangster boss Soapy Smith and the hero of Skagway, Frank Reed, who died fighting a gun battle against one another. Another Alaskan town called Haines can similarly only be accessed by road from the Yukon. Crossing a high mountain pass, we met a decent snowstorm. At some point, the outline of the road was barely discernible.
Just as we thought that the spring had finally arrived, we are driving down to Haines, and it appears there's a winter wonderland up here. So just have a look at the road. You can see that winter definitely is still strong here.
Only 24 hours later, we crossed the same pass again and were welcomed by beautiful sunshine. An incredible winter wonderland surrounded us with magnificent mountain peaks. Perfectly adapted to these conditions is the ptarmigan. These birds are seasonally camouflaged. In winter, they wear a white coat which transforms to a brown plumage in spring. Their feathered feet leave tiny footsteps that can be found all over the snow. These birds do not migrate south in the winter months, but remain in their habitat. At the end of the road lies the lovely village Haines, surrounded by water. Rivers flowing into the inlets bring an abundance of fish. Fishermen young and old flock to the river to secure their catch. Thousands of seabirds can be observed as they glide through the air, with the mountains forming an incredible backdrop. The lucky might even spot hungry seals riding on the waves of the high tide, hunting the fish. Our favorite town in all of the Yukon is Haines Junction. Bordering onto Kluane National Park, it is surrounded by impressive mountain peaks. We thought this would be a good place to get married, and so we did.
With this ring, I marry you.
You are the love of my life
You are the love of my life.
and my very best friend.
And my very best friend.
I now pronounce you husband and wife. Congratulations.
Thank you.
To really appreciate the grandeur of this landscape, a scenic flight is the way to go. Soaring over the gigantic ice fields and stupendous mountains of the St. Elias Range is a truly breathtaking experience. This is also the only way of seeing Canada's highest peak, Mount Logan. It is an experience that is humbling and elating at the same time. One of the funniest Canadian animals is the porcupine. This prickly rodent, whose name derives from the Latin quill pig, has a coat of needle-like quills for protection. Their lifespan of up to 30 years is testament to the effectiveness of their defense. Porcupines are very short-sighted, so they often react to sounds rather than sights, and get confused if they are approached from two directions. Further north, and coming from Alaska, Dawson City can only be accessed by crossing the Yukon River with a ferry. Some buildings in the former gold rush town are a vivid reminder of its turbulent past. Not far away, one of Canada's most adventurous roads starts, the Dempster Highway. Hundreds of kilometers with nothing but wilderness. Teeming with bears, this is a wildlife fan's paradise. The drive to the Arctic Circle is a true adventure, not easily forgotten. But this story is told in a different video. The Yukon, remote and untouched, an adventurous paradise. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up or leave a comment. Also make sure to subscribe for more videos to come.